Good morning. This is the third podcast of the Center for Political and Economic Strategic Studies. And today I will discuss the Armenia's hard navigation between Russia and NATO. Just a week ago, on September 3rd, the military drills AGL 2017 were launched in Georgia. According to Georgian Ministry of Defense, Armenia is supposed to participate, but then cancelled its participation. On September 4, Armenian Ministry of Defense made a statement according to which Armenia never made a final decision to participate in the drills, therefore can be no speaking or discussions about last-minute cancellations. Regardless of the reasons or roots of this situation, it's another symptomatic example of how hard for Armenia to keep its strategic alliance with Russia and simultaneously to develop its relations with NATO. Armenian-NATO relations trace back to 1990s, when Armenia was involved in the Partnership for Peace program. Another milestone for relations between Armenia and the alliance was 2005, when first individual partnership action plan was signed between Armenia and NATO. These action plans are defined the key milestones and key steps which Armenia is doing to improve its military and defense security posture. What Armenia achieved through its cooperation with NATO? First of all, civil democratic control over its military forces. NATO supported also the peacekeeping capabilities of Armenia, and due to its support, Armenia participated in several peacekeeping missions, including Kosovo, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Armenian peacekeepers now are deployed in Afghanistan and in Kosovo. And in 2014, Armenia started to participate in UNIFIL, peacekeeping mission in Lebanon under the auspices of the United Nations. Another key area of Armenia-NATO cooperation is NATO support for defense reforms and also to defense security education reforms. By NATO support, Armenia launched military staff courses and then military staff college in its military university. Simultaneously, Armenia, starting its independence since 1991, was a strategic ally of Russia. Armenia signed Collective Security Treaty in 1992. Russian military base is deployed in Armenia. The Russian border guards are deployed in Armenia, and along with Armenian border guards, they are keeping secure Armenian borders with Turkey and Iran. In 1997, the chief agreement between Russia and Armenia was signed, agreement on mutual defense and friendship, which gives legally binding guarantees for Armenia to receive Russian military support. Even in 1990s and in 2000s, it was hard task for Armenia to keep its relations with NATO growing, simultaneously being strategic ally of Russia. But since 2011, when relations between US and Russia, NATO and Russia started to deteriorate, it's become much more difficult for Armenia to navigate between these two blocs. Of course, we should understand that balanced foreign policy does not mean equal relations with everyone. Armenia is a strategic ally of Russia and is a partner of NATO. But in any case, Armenia is trying to move forward its relations with both NATO and EU. Armenia is in vital need to launch systemic reforms and to modernize its state. Otherwise, it could face difficulties to keep a power balance with Azerbaijan. And everybody understands that in this process, the main positive source can be no Russia because it's facing the same problems as Armenia, rampant corruption, lack of good governance, lack of accountability, but EU and NATO. Started in 2011, Russia-US relations started to deteriorate. It started in September when then Russia's Prime Minister Vladimir Putin made a decision to participate in 2012 presidential elections. 2011 December Duma elections and the mass protests followed, and US harsh reaction, which imposed Magnitsky Act, only deteriorated the relations further. In 2013, Russia's decision to grant asylum to Edward Snowden only made relations even worse. But the flagship of the deterioration of Russia-US relations was 2014, with the Euromaidan revolution in Ukraine, ouster of President Viktor Yanukovych, and Russia's actions, including a referendum in Crimea, incorporation of peninsula into Russia's borders, and support to the rebels in some parts of Donetsk and Lugansk region of Ukraine. Of course, for Armenia, which is a strategic ally of Russia, as I mentioned, it also is a partner of NATO, starting from 2014. It's very difficult to keep this balance. But Armenia trying its best. In 2017, Armenian President Serge Sargsyan met with NATO Secretary General in Brussels and made a commitment to continue the current level of negotiations. The projects to further increase the level of cooperation, including the establishment of NATO Trust Fund in Armenia, was discussed. Also, Armenia participated in Nobel Partner 2017 military drills in Georgia, which were launched in late July 2017. Armenia participated along with US, UK, Germany, and other countries' soldiers. US Vice President Mike Pence participated in these drills and made some anti-Russian statements. We can only guess that maybe Armenia thought that consecutive 2 military exercises in Georgia in direct connection with NATO would be much enough for Russia to start to think about Armenia's future course. But in any case, the path for Armenia is to continue its strategic alliance with Russia due to its geopolitical situation with no war, no peace with Azerbaijan and close borders with Turkey, but also try hard to continue its balanced relation with NATO and EU, and to hope that through their support, Armenia can launch the much necessary reforms. Thank you, and we will continue our video podcast.